Welcome to our daily Forex range bar chart market analysis. My name is Derek Schimming, and this review is for Tuesday, March the 26th. Now, I'll be very brief with my comments for the fact that the market is being very quiet and subdued, trading in a tight consolidative range and producing very few opportunities, if any at all. Days like today, there's just enough movement to bring a trader into a position, only to find themselves in a situation that has not developed and chances are moved against them just slightly. We get whipsawed on days like today if you allow it to happen. If you look at something like the euro yen here at the bottom left hand corner, you can see that it's been trading sideways since rollover, staying just below the pivot level and also below the critical 122 range, which I've been pointing out. This has been just enough movement to bring it into the zone, but holding below that pivot, which I think is critical. And quite frankly, it's got to break one way or the other. It can't move sideways forever. It can go above this range. It needs not only get above this 165 range, but it needs to get above 122, and it has a chance to move higher. We'll look at that a little bit. Or it can break down from here, go test yesterday's low, which is at 120. And then our opportunities as it breaks down from there are outstanding. It is inside my zone. It is below the pivot. It is setting a significant lower high range based on yesterday's activity. So I think the bias should be to the downside. But of course, as I always say, you have to consider both sides of the coin whenever you're looking at a trade. If we look at the marketplace and what's happening, you can see the same thing is happening, say, with this euro dollar up here in the top left-hand corner. Same type of consolidation below the pivot, inside my zone. You can see the pound yen here at the bottom right hand side, it's in the zone, staying mostly below the pivot. A little bit more volatility here, a little bit better opportunities on a sideways day, but still the configuration is the same as we move forward. Several pairs are like that. You can even see this pound dollar, actually a mess with the pound dollar, still consolidating, still below the pivot, still in the zone, but is the least attractive of the four I have on the screen right now. If we go to the currency strength chart, this really will tell the story, and shows you why this is such a powerful tool to utilize. Looking at this, you can see the yen in light blue here at the bottom of the field. You can see how it's just been bouncing up and down, and some sharp moves up, some sharp moves down, really a directionless type of pair trade activity or currency trade activity until recent. Now we're seeing it trade down, coming a little late in the day. Volume has dried up. The opportunities maybe aren't the same as they were earlier, but at least we're starting to see some separation. Look at the top of the top side of this field. You can see the euro in red and the pound in pink, and the same thing. Not quite as volatile, but the same directionless up and down activity. This is not what we want to see. The messier this display looks, the worse off we are as traders. We're looking for nice, consistent divergence or convergence type separation or coming back towards each other in this field. Take your hand and open your fingers and spread them apart, or a rake. We want to see a few currencies consistently moving higher overall, a few currencies consistently moving lower overall. There's always going to be a couple, one, two, or three that aren't really moving that much at all, moving more sideways. That's the ideal configuration, not this sloppy mess. As we move forward in the day, if we don't go back clear to rollover on here, and if I bring this forward to what's happening now, you start to get a appearance of that more desirable type configuration of this view, much more like that. Now we see in this view, you can see that the yen over the last couple of hours has been moving down fairly consistently. The other currencies are really moving sideways, but you definitely get a handle or a representation of a much more attractive view on that chart as opposed to what we've seen the balance of the day. But of course, that's zooming in and manipulating the chart to my benefit to show you that as an example. When you look at the euro yen in detail, and this is going back to March 15th, March 15th, you can see, and I've got this marked with today's pivot, which is that 121.64 range, 65 I think is where I have this line marked. You can also see that over the last week and a half or last 10 days, you can see that it's been a support range. These higher movements here where it consolidated up here, and this movement here is when it came and approached that 122 level, which is why I've been pointing out the 122. Not to forget the fact that as we were climbing up and coming into this range, 122 provided some resistance and it's provided some previous support as it has been in this range since topping out when it hit the 127.70 range, I believe. Yeah, 127.70 range. So you can see clearly that this is a support and resistance level, and if we can break above this level, again, it has to get over 122. But then the opportunity to trade up to 124 and even beyond is something that we would consider and anticipate and try to trade from and to. If it breaks down, comes and tests yesterday's low at this 120 range, then the downward potential I think is a little bit greater. I've been suggesting that for quite some time. We've been taking great advantage of the downward moves in the euro yen. It's been a very profitable pair so far this year. I don't see that letting up. It's just what my preference is, and what we might get could be two different things. But again, I know it can't move sideways forever, and consolidations are healthy. But we have to consider the possibilities on both sides, but considering how it's setting up, you have to have somewhat of a bias towards the short opportunity, even if that is not what ultimately develops. Right now, I just showed you on the currency strength chart that the yen is moving down, and the euro and the pound and the Swiss, the CAD, they're all trying to show a slight amount of strength. So that would suggest the pair should be able to move up a little bit. But if it gets held down by this pivot and ultimately gets held down by the 122 until it can rise above that level, I still would suggest that the opportunity to the downside is more attractive and more likely. You know, the fact is, and I haven't even placed a trade today, and sometimes that's the best trade you can make. So I haven't made any pips, mind you, but I haven't lost any pips. I haven't been drawn into any trades that did not develop for me. And I think the discipline and the patience that I bring to the table is very key. It's one of the reasons my win percentage is so high. And you have the opportunity to see why I do what I do and how I do what I do, approaching the market with my very simplistic, noise-free charting environment, very simplistic strategies that anybody can learn and bring into your process on a daily basis. You know, you're not going to become a master trader by looking at some videos on YouTube or alerts on tweets or someone's posts here or there. That's just not a way to learn how to trade. What you should be utilizing these videos for and these different portals where you're gaining information is to find professionals and find people whose strategy and style and approach of the market is attractive to you and is conducive of your style. And then go experience what those people have to offer and see if there is a fit. There are many people in the field that will do this for you, but there's also, unfortunately, many who are just looking for the buck and don't really have your best interest in mind. They don't really care if you're making money or losing money. They just have something to sell. On the other hand, there's those of us like myself who want to see you and know that this is an art form that can be acquired. It just needs some consistent approach, and you got to get away with a search for the Holy Grail and give yourself the opportunity to actually learn a strategy and learn a style and grow. And again, use these videos to find those professionals who make sense to you and then go experience what they have to offer. If you'd like to sit in our room, we're setting up the guest weeks. We're going to have you come in and experience what we do live on a daily basis. Take training classes, come to the trade sessions, do some mentorship, get to know you a little bit, you get to know us a little bit, and hopefully we'll find a fit long term for many of you. It's an opportunity you have available today. So for more information or schedule a trial, just send an email to info@fxrbc.com. That's forexrangebarcharts.com. And the email address is info@fxrbc.com. If you have any questions, post them on these videos. I'll answer them in future recordings. And always hit the subscribe button so that we can correspond with you from time to time. I look forward to seeing you guys on my trade floor, taking advantage of that opportunity, and I look forward to continuing this series and following in the market on a nearly daily basis with you so that you can learn from our methods and also know a little bit more about how you should be approaching the market on a daily basis. My name is Derek Schimming with ForexRangeBarCharts.com. As always, you have a great day trading. Thanks.